So let's talk about writing an essay. We've all been there, and it's so easy to think of it as just, getting your opinion down on paper. But what if it's more than that? What if it's about joining a huge, ongoing conversation? To do that well, you need a powerful way to enter, and that grand entrance has a name: the Exordium. Basically, the introduction.
But let me ask you, when you write that intro, what's going through your head? Is it just a hoop you have to jump through? You know that little paragraph you kind of rush to get out of the way so you can get to the real stuff in the essay? Or could it be something else entirely? What if we started thinking about the introduction as a powerful, strategic tool? A carefully chosen device that doesn't just say, here's my topic, but one that actually positions you, the writer, in a very specific way for your reader.
And this is where that word exordium really comes into its own. It has a dual function. It's doing two incredibly important jobs at once. Yes, of course, it introduces your subject. But just as crucially, it establishes your entire stance. It's signaling to the reader not just what you're going to talk about, but how you're going to talk about it. And here's the key thing to remember. This isn't some rigid formula where you have to tick a bunch of boxes. No way. Think of it more like a flexible toolkit. You, the author, get to choose which elements are the most important for the specific argument you're making. It's an art, not a science. So if we're going to build one of these powerful introductions, how do we actually do it? Well, the source material breaks it down into two main categories. The first one is all about what we'll call the author's statement. This is how you present yourself intellectually right from the get-go.
And here are the tools in that first part of the toolkit. You've got 6 key components to play with, from declaring your attitude and stating your subject, all the way to laying out your method and even giving a roadmap for your entire argument. Let's dig into a couple of these. Okay, first up, the declaration of humility or superiority. Now, this sounds a little dramatic, but it's really just about the vibe you want to set. It's a strategic choice. You could say something like, this essay doesn't pretend to exhaust the subject, and that creates this modest, thoughtful tone. Or you could come in with more authority. It's all about deciding what relationship you want with your reader.
Next up, what's your intention? It's not just about what the essay is about, but what are you trying to do? Are you trying to clarify something that everyone gets wrong? Argue for a brand new idea? Maybe even denounce a particular viewpoint? Telling your reader your goal right away helps them know what to expect. Okay, now this is a really cool distinction, the method versus the perspective. Think of it this way. The method is the how. It's the path you're going to take. Are you doing a historical analysis? Comparing two things? The perspective is the from where. It's the lens you're looking through. Is it an ethical lens? A political one? Nailing down both of these gives your reader amazing clarity. And get this. In this first section, you can even give your reader a little blueprint of your argument. You can literally say, first, I'm going to define this term. Then we'll analyze what it means. And finally, I'm going to propose a new way to think about it. It just shows your reader that you're in control and you have a clear, organized plan. All right, so that was the first big bucket of tools all about you and your intellectual stance. Now let's switch gears to the second bucket. This one is all about the essay's relationship to the outside world, the circumstances that surround it. And here's another one of those subtle but super important distinctions: your reason for writing versus your purpose. The reason is the spark. It's that issue or concern that got you fired up in the first place. The purpose, on the other hand, is the goal. It's the contribution you hope your essay will actually make. One is the motivation, the other is the mission. And of course, there are other bits of context that can really matter. Sometimes knowing where or when something was written completely changes how we read it. And never, ever forget the title. The title is like the sign above the door of your essay. A great one does so much more than just state the topic. It sets the tone. Okay, so we've got all these different components, right? All these little building blocks. But a pile of blocks is not a house. The real magic, the real artistry comes from how you weave them all together into something seamless and elegant. So just imagine you have these 3 things you want to accomplish. You need to introduce your subject, state your intention, and maybe add a little bit of that humility we talked about. How in the world do you do that without it just sounding like a clumsy list? Boom. Just look at this sentence. It's beautiful. In one single, smooth, flowing thought, it does all 3 jobs perfectly. You've got the humility right at the start, then the clear intention, and finally, the specific subject matter. That's fusion. That's the art of it. And that's why the absolute best way to think about this is not as a checklist, but as a piece of verbal architecture. You are literally building a space for your reader to enter. Every piece is chosen with care and placed with intention. And this brings us to the real heart of the matter. Because learning about the Exordium, well, it's about way more than just a simple writing trick. It's about developing a much deeper understanding of how communication actually works. This is the core idea right here. To start an essay well is to start with rhetorical consciousness. That just means you know exactly what you're saying, why you're saying it, the angle you're taking, and how you're going to guide your reader on this journey, right from that very first word. And I absolutely love this final metaphor from the source material. The exordium is the door to your essay. And if you build that door with precision, if it opens smoothly and invites the reader in, the entire house, the whole rest of your argument, just feels stronger and more impressive. So that's the question I'll leave you with. Next time you sit down to write, remember that you're not just writing an opening paragraph. You are deliberately constructing an entrance into your world of ideas. So, what kind of door will you build for your readers?